Hey everyone, you're watching the Esperanza 2.3. Sorry, that was a little loud, wasn't it? Actually, I should be that loud because sometimes it's hard for you guys to hear me, isn't it? Alright, today is another book reading video. And tomorrow the lyric video should be up along with the acapella time video. Yeah. And just to remind you guys, there are some songs on the Christmas CD I have that I'm doing for the lyric videos that are instrumental tracks instead of, singing voices, words, stuff like that. Anyways, let's get to the book. Leatherby Adventures, Off in Space. I actually had fun working on this book. Alright. Do not worry. I shall make sure Lenore gets your pack, he told, Grandfather Leatherby told her. Lenore? Lenore? Within a minute, a middle-aged woman with blonde hair entered the living room. Middle-aged woman, what the heck? Within a minute, a young woman with blonde hair entered the living room with Grace. Yes, Lord Leatherby, she said. Lenore also had a beautiful English voice. Guinevere left her pack outside the front door. Would you mind getting it, please? Then Mr. Leatherby remembered Mr. Fowler. Mr. Fowler. Could you also escort Mr. Fowler to the door? He is ready to leave. He looked at the plump man, who already had his leather briefcase in his hand. Yes, Lord Leatherby, at once, she replied. Lenore left to get the pack. Mr. Fowler looked at him. Did I hear her say, Lord Leatherby? You heard her correctly, sir. The title was removed when I didn't report immediately to the Queen. Apparently Lenore was small at the time and remembered me. She was nearby when she heard someone call me by my title. I have told her for 3 years to stop calling me Lord, but she refuses. 3 years? What the heck? Oh, that's where I went wrong. Hang on a second, guys. I wasn't thinking clearly when I was reading through this. I have told her for 6 years. That seems about right. I have told her for 6 years to stop calling me Lord, but she refuses. He sighed as Lenore appeared with Guinevere's pack, which looked like a small suitcase. She set it aside next to Danny's suitcase. Once again, Mr. Leatherby, thank you for taking the responsibility to take care of them, Mr. Fowler said. Then he turned toward Lenore. Mr. Fowler, this way, please, she said. She led him to the door. Soon, Lenore was back in the living room. Is there anything else, Lord Leatherby? She asked. Do you remember when I told you about setting rooms for Danny and Guinevere a few days ago? She nodded. I'd like you to make sure the rooms are ready. I want to show them their rooms myself, he told her. She bowed her head to say yes, and then left the room. Grandfather Leatherby turned toward the two children. I made sure the rooms were close by. Would you like to see them? Danny hesitated as Guinevere nodded, but not as eagerly. Wow. Wow, Guinevere whispered. It has everything I like. Grandfather Leatherby smiled. The night Mr. Fowler called me, I asked him quite a few questions about you two. I wanted to make sure the rooms were perfect. Now I know it doesn't look like much. Not at all. It's perfect, Mr. Leatherby, she said. He looked at her, almost mortified. He kneeled to the height of his cane. Now, Guinevere, I do not want my own grandchildren calling me that. I am your mother's father, he explained. She turned to look at him. Guinevere saw the look on his face. She could see his soft, hazel eyes expressing how he didn't like it. Yes, sir. Grandfather, she replied. Then she saw Danny looking at them. What about my brother's room? He rarely sleeps by himself. Their grandfather smiled. I thought about that, he said. He walked across the hall and looked at his grandson. Go ahead, Danny. Open the door. Danny hesitated and then walked to the door. He reached for the doorknob, twisted it slightly, and opened it. When he and Guinevere saw what was inside, they gasped. Do you like it, Danny? Like it? I love it! He ran to the bed and jumped in. Guinevere gasped. It usually takes weeks for him to get used to someone, she thought to herself. She looked at the room again. The walls were of mahogany wood, but the ceiling was painted a light shade of navy blue with many white spots. There was a chest on the opposite side of the room. The bed was next to a different door, which was on the farthest wall. The bed was next to a different door, which was on the farthest wall, the wall next to the chest. There was also a bookcase on the other wall. It was filled with books, mostly kids' stories, including his favorite, Piggy Goes to the Market. What Danny loved, though, was what the bed looked like. It was an ordinary bed, but the blanket had different patches of colors. The blankets reminded him of his small blankets, which he lost when he was packing the rest of his clothes a last time. Guinevere stared at Grandfather Leatherby in amazement. Thank you, Grandfather. I've never seen my brother this happy in a long time. He smiled. I think you and Danny missed something, though. Danny looked at him with confusion. Mr. Leatherby looked at him. Look where your pillow is, dear child. Danny did so. He gasped as he picked something up and showed it to his sister. He gasped as he picked something up and showed it to his sister. The object was a 1-foot-sized doll that looked a lot like Guinevere. The room is perfect, Grandfather Leatherby, Danny said, hugging the doll. Now I believe it is late for me. Now I believe it is late for me. I am going to bed. I suppose you two ought to go to bed too. They nodded. Good night, Guinevere. He smiled at Danny. Good night, Danny. You two have sweet dreams. And I actually drew a picture in case any of you got confused about the description of Danny's room. And here it is. Hope that didn't confuse you, but hey. At least I drew a picture to help you guys out. Excuse me. Hey, you're missing something, her little brother says. I am. I am, she asks playfully. He nods. What am I missing? You didn't describe Guinevere's room, he tells her. You're right, I didn't. This story is about Danny, though. What does her room look like? He asks. She thinks. Now let's see. Her room wasn't painted, I know that, she says. She gasps. That's right. One of the things she loved about the room was that it expressed her heart very clearly. The walls were a tan white shade. It wasn't ordinary, but it wasn't plain. It was unique, I should say. The bed blanket had patches like Danny's blankets, except the colors were different shades of light brown, fading to white in certain areas. There was a fancy chest on the other side of the room, far away from the bed. What she thought was odd, though, is that there was a door next to the chest. She only opened the door once, but that part of the story will have to wait. Oh, but... She gives him a look. Do you want me to continue? She asks. He nods. Okay, where was I? Ah, yes. The next day, Grandfather Leatherby had to go outside of the house. The two children were in the living room with him. He was discussing why he had to go out. But this house is so big. Even if we do find something to do, what if we get lost? Guinevere asked. Her grandfather gave her a look. Now, Guinevere, I know this house is a bit big. When I was your age, I always thought I got lost. I explored as much as I could. Since then, I never got lost, he said. He was about to say something, but he stopped. No, I can't tell them. It would spoil their adventure, he muttered to himself. Anyway, he said, you shouldn't be afraid. Just call Lenore and she can help you. Where is Lenore? I haven't seen her since breakfast, Guinevere asked. Lenore, are you around? Grandfather Leatherby called out. It took a while for her to appear. What were you doing just a moment ago? Lord Leatherby, Lenore said as she gave a quick curtsy. I was dusting on the far side of the house. Is there anything you need? He started to think. Have we any Christmas decorations left? She gasped. Lord Leatherby, we have not done one for 3 years. That was the Christmas family reunion, remember, sir? He gasped. That's right. I am going to stop there. Alright, everyone. I got a good portion done, didn't I? Where did I stop anyway? Anyways, how much time do I have left? Yikes. Alright, well, what time did I have left? Alright, I guess I will see you guys tomorrow for the lyric, or for the acapella time. And of course, there's a slight chance I might talk during the acapella time, so slight chance, there is a chance, because it seems to happen every time when I try to do a karaoke or acapella video. Anyways, I am signing off, and I will see you guys tomorrow. This is DS Bronzer 243, signing off.